You do not need a full band to lead powerful worship, but I would say you do need to lead differently. And here's how. Some weeks, you choose a smaller team, maybe to give people a break. Other weeks, honestly, it's just out of necessity because nobody was available. Maybe, I don't know if you've been there, but it's easy to feel like a stripped down team means a stripped down experience, but I truly believe that does not have to be the case. What I want to do is give you 3 tips to help you lead with confidence and really build a full sound while making the most of every moment, even with a small worship team. You see, with no band to hide behind, your team's strengths and weaknesses really are front and center. In a full band mix, some parts can really afford to hide a little, but in every smaller setup, every voice, every instrument is gonna get exposed. That's why chemistry and clarity are really gonna matter more than raw talent in this setting. You've gotta choose vocalists who are gonna blend and not just sing well by themselves. A background singer who knows how to hold back and wait for the right moment can make a massive impact over somebody with like a powerhouse voice who's gonna come in and sing through the whole set. And the same is gonna go for musicians. You gotta really ask yourself, like, who is going to play with sensitivity? Someone who's gonna listen more than they play. You really want people who can build that moment with you and not just play their part in isolation. It really does become an art. And this doesn't mean you're only gonna be picking pros. It's gonna mean you have to lead with intention. You're gonna have to put the right people together who complement each other and not compete over one another. And that's what's gonna turn a small team into that unified, really powerful sound. So it really is not about having more people, it's just about having the right ones. And that's what I wanna make clear first as we get started. Now, the second thing I wanna talk about is customizing your arrangements. Don't just shrink the full band version of a song when we talk about customizing arrangements. You really need to rebuild it for the team you have. So using Planning Center, you can change your chord chart, right? You can highlight a different arrangement, make changes like saying, hey, on verse 1, we're gonna solo acoustic, or add harmonies on the chorus coming up, or on the bridge, keys are gonna take lead. The final chorus, all vocals in, right? You can really create all that clarity in Planning Center with a different arrangement. But too often we're just taking Hillsong or an elevation chart saying like, well, mute the drums, mute the bass. We're not gonna have any of that and just hope it works out. But without those layers, you really have to rethink the whole shape of the song. You have to start with a different section. Maybe you even open up on the bridge instead of the verse. You might need to change chord voicings or even slow the tempo down. Write a fresh intro or instrumental hook. There's so many different things you could change in the arrangement to support this different structure of a band. Think of it like reorchestrating the song for the instruments you do have, not mourning the ones that you wish you had. That kind of creativity will actually bring new life. I believe old songs will actually become new songs. It'll give your team something that actually works instead of just feeling like you're just barely getting by. On to the third thing I want to talk about. We do not need to fill silence. We got to shape silence in this setting. That might mean let space and dynamics do the heavy lifting. In a small worship team, without a full band, it can be very tempting for few instrumentalists to actually play more and louder to fill that space that they're perceiving. But then it often just totally backfires. Overplaying can clutter the sound and it really just leaves no room for the music to breathe. Building that dynamics, the vocals, the lead vocal should actually be in the driver's seat, guiding the song, and the band will follow that, right? So instrumentalists in a stripped down set often feel that pressure to overplay, strumming constantly, adding extra fills to compensate for having fewer players. We gotta resist that urge. Remember, less is more. Playing fewer, more intentional notes creates a clearer and more powerful sound. Intentionally leaving space in the music, I really do think it's gonna let that lead singer's voice and the song's message just shine a little bit differently in a way that you may have not seen before. That old saying, music is the space between the notes. Those breathing room moments are, I think, what will make the song more impactful. In fact, like, beautiful music isn't just a barrage of notes. It's the combination of notes and the silence that takes those taking part in this worship experience. It takes them on a different journey emotionally. And when you hold back and play with restraint, it just can set you up for such a more powerful moment. Okay, so we've had a little bit of artistic talk here, but let's just talk practically. How do we actually do this? First, just don't let your background vocalist sing harmonies through the whole song. Just easy win right there. But build anticipation. We need to do that as well. Maybe start the song with just lead singing the melody. Save the harmonies for a bigger moment, say the chorus or a bridge, so that when those additional vocals come in, it lifts the song to a new level. That same principle will go for instruments as well. If you're on an acoustic guitar or keys, begin with a simple pattern, chords. Let the opening verse be sparse. Do not bring in all the instruments and layers at once. I think by holding back initially, you give your arrangement somewhere to go. We go back to using dynamics, right, to lift the song. Finger picking an acoustic, a cajon player using a shaker, for example. A lone guitarist might even start with like light finger picking, and a cajon player might stay completely silent. And the lead vocalist just carries the verse softly. Then as you reach the chorus, the guitar player can strum, the cajon or djembe can come in, and a second singer can even come in and add a harmony because you waited for this moment. Now it will just feel huge and intentional. So in short, just let the vocals dictate the ebb and flow. If the lead singer is in a gentle, reflective moment, the instruments should really pull back. And if the song is peaking and the vocalist is belting it out, that's your cue to build up along with them. Add the harmony, play those bigger chords, maybe open the hi-hat. It really can be simple when you start viewing it this way. But by giving songs room to breathe and resisting the urge to overplay, you'll find that the quiet moments will truly draw people into the loud moments. This is intentional. It's intentional restraint. And I genuinely believe that this is probably one of the biggest reasons people lack impact in sets where there are fewer musicians in a stripped down setting. I want to talk about one more, almost like a bonus tip in this. We need to use the stage and the lighting and whatever environment you're creating. We just need to do that very intentionally. On the technical side of things, especially for those weeks when your band is smaller than usual, don't feel like you have to fill the entire stage. Especially don't feel like you need to fill it just because it's there. Like a giant empty platform with 3 people that are spread across the entire front line can actually just make things feel sparse and disconnected, right? Instead, let's use the stage layout and lighting to draw the room in. Bring your musicians closer together, right? Tighten the shot for your stream even. And if you use like soft backlight and tighter front washes to create that sense of warmth and focus, I just think you're gonna be so much more set up for success. I don't think the goal is to make your stage look smaller. I just think it's to make the moment feel more intentional and cohesive. When you're thoughtful with space and lighting, you communicate that this isn't like a scaled down version of worship. It's just as meaningful. It's more intimate maybe. You use lighting and layout to make the moment feel that intentionality that you're trying to give it. So draw focus in, not out. I want to close with this. I really hope you took away from this, you don't need a full band to lead full-hearted worship. You need to lead with clarity. You need to lead with creativity, and there needs to be purpose in all of that. Some of your most meaningful worship moments might not come with a full band on stage. I've personally seen that. I've personally seen they might come from like a quiet song, a thoughtful harmony, or like a room really leaning in during the stillness of a worship song. So next Sunday, whether it's 2 people or 10, lead with what you've got. Do it on purpose. That's how powerful moments are built in the church. If you want more practical tips like this, hit subscribe, like this video. It just helps us grow our channel. We're dropping new content every week. And we just hope that this content can serve you and the many other churches that are out there that have yet to find videos like these. So again, please help us grow as we move forward. Thank you for watching this video, and we will see you next time.